Now, he's the country's most senior civil servant, not a man you often see in public, far less being given a rough ride by MPs. But that was what happened to the Cabinet Secretary, Sir Jeremy Heywood, when he appeared before the Public Administration Committee to defend his inquiry into the Plebgate affair. Sir Jeremy admitted that there were unanswered questions, including the possibility of a gigantic conspiracy in the allegations against the government chief whip at the time, Andrew Mitchell. But he and the Prime Minister had decided to let matters rest. Our political correspondent Michael Crick reports.
Sir Jeremy Heywood this afternoon, with the man who replaced Andrew Mitchell as Chief Whip, walking up the street not far from where the notorious dispute took place last September, which caused Mr Mitchell to lose his job.
I'm Jeremy Heywood, the Cabinet Secretary.
Today, Sir Jeremy, probably the third most powerful man in Britain, was under scrutiny for the way he handled that affair. Andrew Mitchell has always denied calling the policeman in Downing Street effing plebs. Today, the Cabinet Secretary declared Mitchell could have been the victim of a big conspiracy, but he hadn't thought he should investigate that idea further.
No, I think we accepted that there were unanswered questions, including the possibility of a gigantic conspiracy or a small conspiracy. Those were unanswered questions, but we decided on balance to let matters rest as they were, decide to stick by Andrew Mitchell, keep him in post and move on. That was the decision taken.
That was last September when David Cameron asked Heywood to look into this email, first made public by Channel 4 News dispatches only last month, and a second email, both sent by a man in Ruislip claiming to be an ordinary bystander who'd heard Mitchell utter that damaging plebs phrase. Heywood contacted the man. He refused to talk, so he sent John Randall, the man's MP and Deputy Chief Whip, to question him.
He was specifically asked whether he had any links with the police or with the media, because clearly that was an issue in our minds, and he denied that. So that was probably the least satisfactory bit of the inquiry, because I wasn't able to see him myself, but John Randall did see him and gave me that account.
Crucially, Heywood's brief inquiries failed to unearth the amazing fact the Ruislip emailer was a serving policeman in the specialist force, whose duties include guarding Downing Street. Heywood also viewed the CCTV footage from that night, pictures only made public by Channel 4 3 weeks ago, and he concluded they were inconsistent with the Ruislip man's emails. But though Heywood's review began the very day the Daily Telegraph published the alleged police log of events, he didn't consider that log or notice it was similar to the emails, and so didn't match the CCTV either.
No. Can you just explain why you didn't ask to see the police log?
Because I didn't think it was appropriate for me to be investigating the police log, and I didn't think it was necessary for me to...
It's not a question of investigating the police log, it was a question to see whether Mr Mitchell was telling the truth or not.
But my...
I mean, would you not have wanted to see the police log to compare it to
to be very, very clear about this. It's very, very important not to get confusion here. My review, as set by the Prime Minister, was into the emails, not into the police log. I didn't think I needed to see the police logs in order to draw the conclusions that I did about the emails, which were that they were not reliable and therefore that Andrew Mitchell should be kept in position.
Sir Jeremy also revealed he'd read a note by Chris Martin, David Cameron's principal private secretary, of exchanges Martin had with the police sergeant in Downing Street on the evening of the incident. Remarkably, Heywood couldn't recall if that note included the word plebs.
The Principal Private Secretary's note used the word pleb.
I can't recall, to be honest. Fundamentally...
So there's a record in number 10 of a conversation with a police officer immediately after the incident that goes absolutely to the heart of the controversy, and you cannot remember whether the word pleb is in that note.
I can't remember whether it's specifically worded...
Because it wasn't in your remit?
No, it wasn't in my remit, no. Absolutely not in my remit.
Committee members, particularly Tories, clearly felt Plebgate wasn't the Cabinet Secretary's finest hour. Their report next week will say things must be handled better if such an event ever happens again.
And Michael Crick is live now in Westminster. Well, what sort of reaction has there been to Sir Jeremy?
Well, I think members of the committee feel that he just didn't ask enough questions, he didn't take enough initiative, and in particular that he didn't do enough to bolster Andrew Mitchell's position and indirectly, of course, to help David Cameron. They feel that listening to him, he sounded like a low-grade, grade 7 civil servant, as one member of the committee put it, rather than the all-powerful cabinet secretary that, of course, he is. And indeed, I think when their report comes out next week, they'll be recommending it shouldn't be the Cabinet Secretary that makes inquiries like this in future. It should, in fact, be the Prime Minister's official advisor on ministerial conduct, Sir Alex Allen, who the committee feel has been badly underused during the Cameron premiership. But another theme of today was, why was it that the Cabinet Office was so slow to release the CCTV footage, which of course eventually we showed on Channel 4 News and Dispatches just before Christmas? My view is that if it had been released at the time of Heywood's review, it would have changed the whole climate, swung opinion very much in favour of Andrew Mitchell's account of events, and he probably would have kept his job.
Thanks, Michael.